Hello, this is nature. It's nice, isn't it? Look how pretty everything is. But what's that noise? That'll be the A3 dual carriageway running underneath us, for this bit of nature is actually a bridge, and today we're going to talk about it. My name is John, welcome to Auto Shenanigans. Why not consider subscribing? The Natural Nature Nurturing Bridge opened in June 2026, replacing what was a fairly ordinary pedestrian bridge that was built in the late 1970s. It's known as Cockrow Bridge. Try not to laugh, and it's a green bridge. The f*** is that then? A green bridge, nature bridge or wildlife crossing is a structure designed with the natural world in mind. The idea is that it will be used by various animals to safely cross over a road, railway or river, and across the bridge deck various plants, flowers, trees or grasses are planted in line with the surrounding area. And the reason we build them is usually because we've made life difficult for nature. Haven't we? Yes. Back in the old days, before the A3 and the bridge were a thing, the area was a vast heathland, sometimes called a wasteland, owing to the dry, acidic, nutrient-deficient soil that only allows for certain shrubs and proper hard bastard plants to flourish. These heathland areas are thought to date back to the Bronze Age, making some of them over 3,000 years old, and over that time they've become home to rare animal species. In Surrey, for example, you've got the sand lizard, the heath tiger beetle and smooth snake, which are all unique to the area, so whilst the heathlands are a bit shit for plants, the unique environment is perfect for these interesting and rare animals. Over the years, these heathland areas have shrunk in size, and indeed, Surrey has lost 85% of its heathlands, whilst worldwide, it's a similar story. Apparently, there's now more rainforest in the world than there is heathlands. I don't know, something about an area the size of Wales? It's rare stuff. Be a bit annoying if someone built a huge dual carriageway through it, wouldn't it? To be fair, from what I can see, there's always been a road of sorts running through the heathlands, but it would have no doubt started as a dirt track for horse-drawn carriages before being turned into a proper road, which in itself probably wasn't an issue, but when you get to the 1970s and build a huge dual carriageway, it starts to become more of a problem. What you've done is effectively divide a natural habitat into two sections with a tarmac death strip for wildlife, and given the rare lizards and whatnot, that's less than ideal. Furthermore, you've reduced the natural area in which these rare species can breed, ensuring they remain a rare species, but it was the 1970s and we didn't care. But we do now, maybe, and someone thought, let's build us a green bridge, which turns out isn't a new idea. The first bridge built with nature in mind opened in the 1950s, not in the UK, but in the country that's always at the top of the list when it comes to nature-driven infrastructure projects, and that country is, of course, France? Oh. Yeah, the first one was built in France, but don't worry, the Netherlands weren't far behind, who perfected the art of building green bridges, and it's where now you'll find several hundreds of these bridges, the largest being 800 metres long that crosses over a major road and a railway. They're commonplace in Canada and the US as well, although for a slightly different reason. Over there, it's about protecting the people from the wildlife. If you hit a moose at 70, you're coming off worse, so a green bridge gives the mooses, it gives the mooses safe passage over the road, and by all accounts, they seem to work very well. So when did the UK get around to building such a bridge, do you think? 2005, here in Kent on the A21, where we find the first green bridge built in the country, which is known as the Scotney Land Bridge, and it allows the deers and rabbits access to the golf course from the National Trust Country Manor and Walled Garden. To be fair, somebody spotted a badger on the bridge once, so it's been a resounding success. So much so that since then we've built at least 3 of these green bridges, the most recent of course being the £3.7 million Cockrow Bridge. Cockrow. I mean, you could have called it anything, but anyway, whilst it might seem that the highways people are going out of their way to be nice to nature, the real reason the green bridge has been built can be found but a dead sand lizard's throwaway. This is the newly refurbished and improved Junction 10 on the M25, to which the A3 connects. The junction sees around 300,000 vehicles on a daily basis, and over the course of a few years they've turned what was previously a roundabout junction into a slightly larger roundabout junction at a cost of well over £300 million. Horseshit. It's difficult to see exactly where the 300 million went, but we've now got an elongated roundabout with some extra slip roads. If you drive this way in rush hour, let us know if it's made any difference in the comments. When it came to building the junction, it involved the removal of a few trees and bushes, which leads us on to why the Cockrow Bridge was really built. Because it had to be. Sort of. Let me explain. If you're to build a huge junction and in the process remove bits of nature, you need to replace what you've removed, and there's no doubt certain boxes to tick to meet modern day environmental targets, whatever they are. But from what I understand, you don't need to necessarily replace like for like, and if you were to build a nice nature bridge, according to the councils, that would be sufficient to fulfil your environmental responsibilities. Don't worry about the trees, but that makes the bridge a target-meeting objective rather than a nice thing to do, which is probably why we don't tend to bother building them all that much. But let's take a closer look, and for the first time since the 1970s, the heathlands on Wisley Common and those on Oakham Common have been reconnected thanks to the Cockrow Bridge, ensuring safe passage for the lizards. The bridge itself is 68 metres in length, but unusually wide at 30 metres to allow for the nature corridor section of the bridge. It's made out of pre-stressed and precast concrete beams, 22 in total, and together they weigh around 2,000 tonnes. As per National Highways procedure, the paint finish choice is of poor taste, with the bridge finished in prolapse red powder coat. Sorry, iron oxide red. Once completed, they moved 10,000 square metres of established heathland onto the bridge deck to create the natural habitat. And I hope I'm wrong here, but that reads like they dug up Wisley Common, the rare and endangered heathland, and bulldozed it onto the bridge, which sounds a little counterintuitive, but what do I know? You'll also notice that there's a bit of a road, which there is. I'm not sure what the game plan is, but the Green Bridge designed for nature also features vehicular access, which again seems a little counterintuitive. If we take a look at pretty much every other green bridge around the world, they don't have roads or cycleways on them, and the reason for that is because they realise that in order to give nature the best chance, humans, and more so their transportational devices, need to be kept out of the equation. And I think I agree with that. However, it's been suggested that maybe in the future the bridge will be turned into a proper road bridge, and actually that's secretly what it's for. It sounds silly, but just on the other side of Oakham Common will soon be thousands of houses which might need some road access. But that's just a random theory on the internet. I've nothing to back that up, although it does sound about right, doesn't it? No, I'm sure that won't happen. Time will tell, I suppose. And it's the same for whether this green bridge will actually work as intended. Certainly elsewhere in the world, they've seen great success. But that's elsewhere. We built a road on our nature bridge. But even so, the bridge is a bit of an experiment to see if they can revive the ancient and rare heathland biodiversity, which at the time of construction, they had no idea if it would work. We'll give it 10 years and see what happens. But as a piece of environmental mitigation to facilitate the construction of a motorway junction, it's all right. Thank you very much for watching. Like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys soon. Take care. Bye-bye. And it allows the deers and rabbits access to the traffic here in Kent, on the sake, man. 2000. You're gonna bite me. Go on, bugger off. Don't tread on the sand.